Hi, my name is Goldman. I'm the director and founder of Goldman and Associates. Our firm has a primary focus on family law issues. Today I want to talk about something interesting, and I'll just share with you, my viewing audience. What I do is I'm handed, before we start these videos, I'm handed a list of questions that people have asked, and I read them, and then we turn on the camera, and we start rolling, and I talk about them. I got an interesting one, and I have to laugh. It's about hidden assets. How could your spouse be hiding assets? So this is a person who doesn't know whether or not their ex is hiding assets, wants to know how they could so they can see whether he or she is doing that. Well, I have to tell you like this. You know, lawyers, when we investigate a divorce case for assets, we're going to explore known assets, okay? We're going to determine the value of known assets. If a client tells us we suspect that there is money hidden in another bank account, we can subpoena those records. We can send a order to produce to that bank and make them give us that. But if you think that your wife has taken cash and put it in somebody's safe or given it to her girlfriend to put in a safety deposit box under a different name, and you want us to try and find that, I have to tell you, there's no practical way to do that because your lawyers are not going to be able to go sending subpoenas and, getting court orders to open every safety deposit box to find out where your money is. In other words, it's not a fishing expedition, people. It's not about how can I find out whether or not my husband's hiding assets. Do you suspect he's hiding assets? Let's start there. If you suspect he is, because during your marriage he was constantly sending money overseas, and that was how you did things, so therefore you believe money's overseas, all right, then you got something, and then you're giving your lawyer something to work with. If you just read about clients that hide assets, so you want to know how that can be done, or whether or not it's being done in your case, I would say you're giving your lawyer a very, very difficult task. I will tell you this, though. The law recognizes that the fact is there are people who hide assets during divorces. We see it all the time. A house full of expensive furnishings and stuff like that. All of a sudden, things will start disappearing. And the husband walks in. Didn't we have this huge, expensive vase? Whatever happened to it? Oh, I don't know what you're talking about, the wife says. Or we gave that away. Or don't you remember little Billy was here and he broke it, which we were going to make an insurance claim we did. In other words, a story. And then later on, the husband finds that she's got a storage unit and all that fancy stuff she's put away in that unit. And why? Because after the divorce, she wants it for herself. I will tell you that the case law in Michigan has carved out a remedy for that kind of thing. Because if you knowingly withhold assets, if you take assets, you put them away, you don't disclose known assets when you should during the divorce, the court sets up a penalty plan. Your divorce can be reopened. Not only can you lose the half of that asset that you would have to split with your ex, you can lose the whole asset as a penalty if the court finds that you did this in direct effort to take it away from the other person. This can apply to stuff, it can apply to money, it can apply to cars, it can apply to house, it can apply to anything. So therefore, if you, oh yeah, I forgot about that bank account, darn. If the court doesn't believe that that was an innocent mistake, if the court thinks you did that on purpose, then it's likely that the court will exact a penalty. Now, how will the court know? It can't crawl into your head to know if you did it on purpose. Well, it's very simple. If you disclosed, let's say, a bunch of accounts that had $100,000 in one, and there was one that's been dormant for 10 years, and that account has $2,000 in it, it's not likely that the court is going to think that's the one that you forgot. But if it was the other way around, if you disclosed a bunch of nearly empty accounts and conveniently forgot to disclose the one account that has 6 figures in it, the court's going to think that you did that on purpose. And you know what? You may lose that asset in its entirety. So therefore, be very careful about this. Be very careful about the notion of hiding assets. And if you believe that your ex is hiding assets, not because you read an article about it somewhere, but because that's what you used to do, you've seen him do it, you know there was a safety deposit box, you know there was a safe something to give your lawyer something to work with, let your lawyer know. He or she will do the appropriate investigation of the value of that asset, try and locate that asset and determine what it's worth, and then the court will react appropriately. If you have any questions about that, reach out. We'll be glad to help you out.